Okay, we've been working on the boots here for a little bit, and what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and take this, and we're going to go where the top part of the boot is going to be. Again, I'm leaning my finger against there. We're going to go all the way around. And it should match to the front right there. Okay, now some boots like this one here, I have the you have the boot and this is really short. Some people have a little bit of black and then the trim. You can do it either or. Because we're working with such a small area here, I decided to lay that right on top of the boot, which I think would look pretty good. So what we whoops, I just dropped it. That's alright. What we're going to do is we're going to bring this up a little bit and give that boot a little bit of a black area so it's more of a boot look. So let's do this. Let's go bring this all the way around. It's up to you. It's a little more difficult to do it this way, but I think you'll see that it will work out a lot better. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take your knife and you're going to follow this all the way around the tip of your knife. Make sure your fingers are out of the way. And when you do these cuts, folks, you do not have to make, it does not have to be as deep and let me rephrase that. I'm getting tongue-tied here. When you do this stop cut, okay, with the tip of your knife, you're just doing it a little bit in there. You're not pushing it really super hard because you're not trying to do that cut all at once. You're going to go back and do it again. So let's go from the top. I just did the top part. Let's do this. Let's just slowly go around and chop that out. You can use the tip of the knife, might work better. Just take your time, and if it doesn't come out clean, you go back over it. That's what I mean. It will come out on its own. But try not to push it in so deep. First of all, it's a hazard to try to do it all at once because you're going around. Whenever you go around something that's rounded, your chances of slipping off is much greater. So you want to just take your time and do a little bit at a time. And and you can use your V tool to do this, but I'm teaching you how to do it with a knife because a lot of people don't have the V tools right away. I use the V tool a lot for the hair now and all that, but if you look at my very first ones 5 years ago, I did everything with the knife, including the beard and everything. So and then I found the joy of using those V tools because I was hesitant to use them simply because they're so hard to sharpen up. And if you keep them honed up right, you don't need to sharpen them up with back to square one like you normally do with a knife. Sometimes, you know, they say, well, if you hone it up, you never have to resharpen or redo the blade. I don't find that to be true for myself. I ended up taking it back to regrinding it on a diamond wheel or something, you know, later on. And I'm talking months later, not right or weeks later. Okay, so you see we have the top part of the boot done, and that, of course, we're going to trim off. When you're done, you're going to. This is like a big V cut, but I like using a knife. I think the V cuts are crisper with a knife, maybe not as even. And if you're looking for things to look really even, then you want to use the V tool. I see I didn't use, I can go from either or really on this when I do that. I usually like doing it from the top first because that's usually your deepest cut, and then you're just rounding off the edge here. Alright, so that's phase one. Alright, now we're going to do the bottom part, right? So let's do that. Same concept, going all the way around. And I always draw it on with a pencil because sometimes when you go around it doesn't match exactly where the boots are. You might be off an eighth of an inch or so, so draw it on first. It's easier. Now this one we're going to go from the bottom up, so that's a little tough right there, so I'm going to do a little V-cut there. It's a very touchy area there because it's so small. So if you have a little detailed knife, that will work, but this will work too. And the reason I love this knife a lot is because I can use it as a detailed knife or as a roughing knife. I can use it either or. So if you're looking for cost effectiveness and you don't want to spend a lot of money on knives or whatever, you can buy one of these Murphy knives from Dawn, and you can pretty well do everything with it. Now, if you're like most carvers, you're going to keep adding knives to your pile, you know, to your toolbox and your collection. We all have them. I use the Rough Rider knives as well. I just don't have a lot of them really sharpened really super well right now, so I'm just fussing with this. Now you notice I'm doing it both ways, and that's fine. Alright, see how we have it? There's how that's done. Okay, and right here where this meets, you want to kind of get a good cut right next to each leg there. That's a little tough to get sometimes. Alright, and this I need to round off a little bit, or take off that edge. And you can go back and clean that up and round that up as much as you want. Now the boots. Okay, we're almost done here. We're going to round this off a little bit more. Take this down just a tad more, not a whole lot. And what we're going to do is we're going to, I don't know if I can show this to you. We're going to drape this down just a little bit at an angle, okay, on either side. Alright. What you want to do is take your knife, and you're going to follow that down, and you're going to take it from the top first. Alright. And then we're going to round this off. Same thing with the top of the boot here. We got to separate the two at the top, so a little bit of a V cut there. There we go. That's pretty well it for the boot. I know there isn't a lot to play with there, but